in a little bit. But real quick, let me just get a drink here, and let me tell you a little about myself. This is my show. As I said, semi-weekly show. I do it every Wednesday or Friday, depending on when I buy my comics. And I just talk about the comics I bought, for the most part, and show off some of the art and the covers, stuff like that, and try to convince you all to go out there and buy comics. I also have a regular show on Sundays called Dylan Knows, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every week is a different genre. Talk about different things with different co-hosts. This week is going to be my supernatural/paranormal show with my special guest host, Daphne Du, Larissa. So watch that, watch the links. But for now, you guys are here to watch the Comic Haul, and here's Comic Haul. Again, for those who haven't watched it before, I've divided in DC, Marvel, and Independence. Independence being Image, Dark Horse, IDW, Dynamite, Boom, any other studio that is not Marvel or DC. And I start with DC first because DC is, right now, is my favorite company, but I have issues with it, and Marvel's picking up steam a little bit. But for now, let's go. All right, first up, DC's got 2 weeklies, and I found out a little earlier this week or last week that they actually have a 3rd one coming up soon, so there's going to be 3 weeklies, which is a little insane, but I guess they're building to something, I suppose. The first one is Future's End, number 15, covered by Ryan Sook. Ryan Sook is one of those artists that I absolutely love. Started off as kind of a Mike Mignola imitator, but then slowly got his own style and became fantastic. The only problem with him is he really can't sit down and do a weekly book, which is a shame because his artwork is amazing. But all DC weekly books are written by a number of different writers, and different artists pop in and out. Some might be on for a couple issues and then take a break for a little while, and some other artist comes in and then they come back. The writers we have are Brian Azzarello, Keith Giffen, Jeff Lemire, and Dan Jurgens. The penciler for this week's issue is Scott Eaton, and the inker is Drew Garassi. Scott Eaton is one of those guys that you can always count on. Not flashy, but you can understand. Here's a splash page for you. Not flashy, but he tells the story. He does what he's supposed to do. He tells the story. And the story of Future's End is DC 5 years in the future, and there's a lot of bad stuff going on, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. It focuses on a lot of secondary characters. This is Superman, but we don't know if this is Clark Kent Superman or if it's a different type of Superman. Here we have Amethyst and Frankenstein, and Hawkman looks like is in this as well. And then we've got, looks like Deathstroke is there, and I know Tim Drake's popped up. This is Mr. Miracle as well. All kinds of great characters you might not like too much, but give them a little bit of a spotlight in their own book. Future's End is going to play a big role next month in DC's celebration. Every year, every September, they celebrate their New 52 launch, which was, I guess, now going on 3 years. I guess back in 2011. With a different theme, and this month's September's theme is going to be Future's End, so all the books are going to jump 5 years, which is interesting because pretty much all the books this month are ending story arcs, and creative teams are finishing up their story arcs as well, and then they're going to have this 5 year later story, and then you're going to have maybe new creative teams, new story arcs, whatever. So we'll get into that because there's some big ones coming up. But the other weekly we have is Batman Eternal, number 19. Fantastic cover of Batgirl taking on the Red Hood. And once again, written by multiple writers. This is Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, Tim Seeley, Ray Fawkes, and John Layman. The art for this issue is Emmanuel Simeone. Kind of a darker type of style. Still easily recognizable. Characters are easily recognizable. You know who you're dealing with. Stuff like that. So, pretty good. It doesn't hurt your eyes, and it's in good shape. So, Batman Eternal has been, for the most part, the regular Batman comic for the last couple months now, because Batman proper, written by Scott Snyder, has been doing their Year Zero storyline, which takes place at the not year one, but the very time where Bruce became Batman, and stuff's going on. But that ended last month, so this month Batman is coming back, which I'm going to get to in a second. But this book has been keeping up current Batman Eternal stuff, or Batman current items going on in the Batman world, and it's going to spin off into a few things. Batman's going to have sort of a big renaissance this fall. It's got a third book just got announced, but Batgirl's going to have a new creative team, which I'll talk about in a second. Then there's going to be a Gotham Academy book, which is going to be more of a, I guess, female-oriented style book. Then there's one where Arkham Asylum is now Wayne Asylum, and they move Arkham Asylum to Wayne Manor, which I'm still trying to figure out how that's going to work. And then they just announced another one I'm really excited about is a horror. It's like Gotham After Dark or something like that. I can't remember the title of it, but Ray Fawkes, who's one of the contributors to this, is writing it with Ben Templesmith, who hasn't really done a regular book in a while. He's the one who did the 30 Days of Night, the original 30 Days of Night, and has done some other stuff as well. He's going to be doing the artwork, and it's going to be Batman, going to focus on a team of Gotham City Police Department people who, sort of like an X-Files group that goes and investigates monsters and spirits and stuff like that after midnight. So kind of should be interesting, looks good. That one, I'm definitely going to get. The other ones I'll wait and see. But as I said earlier, Batman has been doing its Year Zero story, and now Batman number 34 brings Batman back to the present, following smack dab into Batman Eternal. So he's getting back on track now. The reason why I have my name as Gerry Duggan is I've never heard of Gerry Duggan before, but apparently he wrote this issue with Scott Snyder just as a story, credited just for the story. Gerry Duggan also wrote something else later on down the line, which is why I put his name up there. I've never heard of Gerry Duggan, so if I'm missing something, I'm sorry. Should be interesting, so I can't wait to read his stuff. I've looked through this book so far. It looks pretty interesting. It's a self-contained story. So Year Zero ended. This is a self-contained story. The next issue will be the Future's End story, and then a new story arc, Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, which they're not telling us much about, which they're trying to keep close to their vest. So as I said, Scott Snyder just wrote the story, but Gerry Duggan is the writer, and the artist is Matteo Scalera. Once again, kind of a dark, scratchy style to him, but it kind of fits Batman. And basically, from what I was looking through it, it's Batman investigating a murder while trying to make sense of what's going on in Gotham Eternal. And getting the story set up. So Batman 34 is out today. It's a self-contained story, as I said. So if you haven't been reading Batman, you may as well start there, because the next month is going to be self-contained story also, and then a whole new story arc is going to start. So if you're a new comic reader and like Batman, this issue may be a good jumping on point for you. Batman 34. I mentioned Batgirl is getting a new creative team, which I'm kind of disappointed about because I like Gail Simone. But from what I've seen of the creative team, Cameron Stewart's the writer. I can't remember the name of the artist is, but it's a female artist. I like what's coming. I like what's upcoming. I think Gail is writing one more story. I think she's writing the Future's End Batgirl story, but this is, for all intents and purposes, Gail's last issue of Batgirl, unless she is writing the Future's End one, which I'm not sure if she is or not. But this is Batgirl number 34. Gail Simone, art by Fernando Passerian, with inks by Jonathan Glapion and Matt Ryan. I was looking through this one also because I haven't really been caught up on Batgirl either. It looks like Batgirl has got a team of female superheroes taking on the bad guys. So you get a little bit of view of Zatanna and a bunch of other, Wonder Girl and Huntress and Birds of Prey and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. Starfire, so on and so forth. But it's good artwork. Gail Simone will be missed on Batgirl, but I think Batgirl is in good hands with the new creative team. So, for all intents and purposes, this is the last Gail Simone issue regular, and then I think she's going to write the Future's End one, which is next month. But pretty nice looking cover there by the same guy who did the cover too. that many turnovers. I actually don't know who the name is right now, but 2 Batgirl pictures for the price of 1. So, Batgirl. So, with Batgirl, if you're a fan of Batgirl, you might want to catch up. You might want to read the Future's End storyline, because one of the things I think is going to be self-contained. I don't think you really need to know much about what's going on, and then the new creative team takes over. So, perfect timing for it. September is always a good time if you want to get involved in comics for DC Comics, especially because they always do these self-contained ones, and it's always good to pick it up and get an idea of what's coming. Keeping with the Batman theme, the previous issue just came out a week or so ago, but the new issue's already out. Harley Quinn #9, another great story. Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner doing the writing, and the artwork is by new artist this week, John Timms, but it's keeping the good style, keeping the style that we like for our Harley Quinn. Love the cover by Amanda, and Harley Quinn is just an insane comic, but it's a lot of fun. So check it out. I think this is the end of a storyline, and then oh, wait a second, next time in just 2 weeks. Oh, so Harley Quinn is going bi-weekly now for a little while. So her Future's End story might not be for a little while. So maybe next issue in 2 weeks will be her last one for her story arc, present story arc, and then they'll do the Future's End one, and a new story arc comes on. So Harley Quinn's always good artwork. Did I show you some more of the artwork? It's actually really nice. I really like it a lot. So check it out. It's not too bad. So, all right. Next up is, now this is an interesting cover. Justice League United. It's a great Justice League team. It's written by Jeff Lemire, art by Mike McCone, and it features Adam Strange, Martian Manhunter, Green Arrow, Supergirl, Star Spangled Girl, Hawkman, and stuff like that. I love Adam Strange. I love Martian Manhunter, so this is a great team. Jeff Lemire is a great writer, and originally this series was going to be called Justice League Canada, because the characters take place in Canada. Jeff Lemire is Canadian, so he was going to set it in Canada, and he's going to use his Canadian history and background to make it a very realistic Justice League series. But they changed it to Justice League United, which is fine, because that way they're not just confined to Canada. They'll be able to go all over the world, because Adam Strange is an outer space person, Supergirl is, Hawkman is, Animal Man is in there, Martian Manhunter. So they say Justice League United. But to keep up with, I guess it's only going to be for the first story arc, they did make a variant cover called Justice League Canada. And I had seen them on the shelf, but I think for some reason my local comic store was charging a little bit extra for them. But this one they weren't, so I figured, hey, you know what, let's pick this up. It's different than the Justice League United cover. The only difference is the red is blue on the Justice League United cover. So this is Justice League Canada. Same thing, Justice League United. Love this book. Love the team. Very excited for what's to come. Like Mike McCone. I like the characters, and I am ecstatic to keep reading this. And I hope Jeff Lemire sticks with it. He's created a Canadian superhero. Where is she? I'll show you what the Canadian superhero looks like. This is the Canadian superhero, brand new creation. We're going to learn more about her in the next story arc. I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, they're doing a Future's End, and then they'll continue with the story arc. So, fantastic series. It's on issue 4, but it's the 5th issue of the story arc because it started with a 0 issue. Pick these books up. Justice League United is fantastic. I love it. Love the team. It's really different than the other Justice League, which seems to be a bit more dramatic, whatever. This is very comedic, very venture-y, and I love the cast. Absolutely adore this cast. So props to Jeff Lemire and Mike McCone for working on this. And I think I don't want to be remiss in saying Cam Smith is the inker. So check out Justice League United. You might be able to pick up the special Justice League Canada variant at your store. I want to get at least one. So, I guess what you want to do is, try to pick these issues up if you can. But if you want to wait till next month and get the Future's End one, that's great. And then the new story arc starts. So I think we're going to learn more about the Canadian superhero. Now, I talked about this last week, and I've been talking about it for a while. DC's been doing a new thing where you've already saw the variant for Justice League United. This is Justice League Canada. But this is just Justice League Canada is just for this one. They've also decided to implement a monthly cover, variant cover, where it's a theme, and all the books do a theme cover. Last month was Batman, so they did the regular cover and then a cover with Batman involved in some way in the cover. The month before that was the Bombshell covers, where the female characters from those books were dressed and drawn in the style of like 1950s and 60s cheesecake bombshell posters. I guess it's done successful because they've got a whole bunch lined up. This month's is selfies, and I go to the store and I look at the covers. My store has both covers up there, and if I like one better than the other, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to buy it. Like last week, I bought Grayson #2. I bought the selfie cover because I liked it better than the original cover. And this week, I just wanted to get a selfie cover also, and I absolutely love this character. So Green Lantern Corps 34. The selfie cover is Kilowog and John Stewart. Love Kilowog that way. So this is the selfie. And now they're labeling it because it's going to be something normal, because I know they're doing a horror one. I think in October. They're doing a Lego one maybe in November, probably not September, because September is their Future's End story. So you'll have special cover for that. And then it's going to be, I think, the Monster one in October, and then it's going to be Legos in November. So Green Lantern Corps #34. This is the selfie cover. I like it. There's another cover as well. This ends a story arc that Van Jensen and Bernard Chang have been working on. Van Jensen's the writer. Bernard Chang is the artist. I like his art style. He's another one of those artists that's nothing too outrageous about his stuff. Fairly creative. He knows the human form. Draws backgrounds really well. Good forms of use of color and stuff like that. So it's fantastic. John Stewart is a great character, and he's the focus of the Green Lantern Corps, even though it does focus on other Green Lantern members. So this is the end of the Green Lantern Corps story arc. They'll do their 5-year later one, Future's End one, and then they'll start the new story arc. So Green Lantern Corps 34 is out today. I picked up the selfie cover. The regular cover is out there as well if you prefer that. My last DC is Superman Wonder Woman #11, continuing the Doom storyline. I think they're getting ready to wrap up the Doom storyline because next month is 5 years later, so you got to wrap it up before then. So this is continuing the last bit of the story arc. Charles Soule's doing a really good job writing it. I'm still anti Wonder Woman Superman being a couple, but Charles Soule's still writing a really good book, and Tony Daniel had been the artist, but I think he's leaving to do a Deathstroke the Terminator book coming out later this year too. So I'd be sad to see him go, but I kind of like the new artist they got on here, or I don't know if he's just for today or whatever, but it's Tony Silas is the artist, and he's got sort of, I don't know, kind of an abstract quality to him again. Superman, and there's John Jones, Martian Manhunter, who's another one of my favorite characters. Kind of I'm trying to think of the guy's name. There was an artist that is very similar style back from the 80s and 90s, and I kind of like the style, the sharp edges. It makes it very, very interesting. So, I mean, it's not for everybody, but I kind of like it, and hopefully things will be good. So this story's going to be wrapping up soon, and then they'll do, once again, their 5 year later, and then they'll do probably beginning of a new story arc. So Superman Wonder Woman #11, Charles Soule doing a really good job writing, and hopefully maybe Tony Silas will be sticking around for a while, since Tony Daniel will be moving on. And I love Tony Daniel's artwork, so I'll be following him, probably Deathstroke the Terminator. That was all the regular DCs. DC has an imprint called Vertigo, which is their more adult version of their stuff, and a creator-owned stuff. And I always talk about this book because I love this book to death. Everyone else should get this book also. This is one of these books where if you're a first-time comic book person, you go in a comic book store and you're like, okay, what should I pick up that would be really interesting? Pick up the first trade of Astro City. Great, great series. Kurt Busiek has written every single issue of Astro City. It's been a regular series, then a bunch of mini-series, and a bunch of specials, and another regular series, and then more specials, and another mini-series, and now another regular series. Brent Anderson has drawn basically pretty much every issue. I think there's only one where they gave him a break, but he's drawn every issue, every mini-series, every one-shot, and they gave him a break for one issue, I think, during this, and that was it. And Alex Ross, who did the cover, and everybody likes Alex Ross stuff, he's also on board as a designer. He's been on board since Astro City started. Go to your local comic store. Go to a local comic store. If you've never read a comic before, or you want to find something new, ask for Astro City. Get the first trade. I think it's something in the city, big time in the city, big hero in the city, first time in the city, something like that. Love it. Love it. It's Astro City is such a great storyline. It takes the basic premise of Astro City is a fictional town with plenty of superheroes to spare, but instead of focusing on the superheroes, it focuses on the people who are affected by the superheroes. Now, not every issue is focusing on Joe the baker and his experiences with the superheroes. No, the superheroes play an important role in the series, and they have their own stories, but you get a better, well-rounded superhero. Like there was an issue way back near the beginning where there's a Superman character. This is Samaritan. He's a Superman type of character, and I can't remember. I think his Winged Victory is the female Wonder Woman-esque character. And the two of them decide to try to go on a date together. So the whole issue is the two of them on a date in a coffee shop. And it's fantastic. Just discussing their lives, how they survive, like that. And then, of course, near the end, I think they jump off and fight supervillains. But for the longest time, it's just them talking. It is a deep series. Character, if you love character, you love excellent writing, you love beautiful artwork, you love awesome covers, you love awesome original characters, Astro City is where you pick up. I cannot recommend this book more. So go to your local comic store. If you've never been to a local comic store before, if you're interested in going into a comic book store, if you want to find something, find the first trade of Astro City. Find the first trade of Astro City. Read the first trade of Astro City. You will love it. And if you go on the weekends and your store has a special offer going on, 50% off of trade paperbacks, get two. Two for the price of one. You can't beat that. So Astro City 14 is the newest issue. I'll show you a little bit about here. This is Brent Anderson's been around forever. He's a very old school type of artist, but he's very detail oriented. He's reliable. He's fantastic. Alex Ross helps design the costumes and the characters, but it's all Kurt Busiek mostly is the one who comes with the majority of the stuff, and then he is a collaboration with Brent Anderson and Alex Ross. See, this is a normal person. This is a woman who, she runs a museum of robots. That's the story, is the Museum of Robots and what happens, and how she got into it, and how she recovered her robots, and how it happened, and if something something bad happens, something storyline is going to happen, but that's great. Or maybe there's going to be like this. Looks like there's a new robot on town, and maybe the only person who can help this heroes defeat it is this old woman. Pick up Astro City. I cannot recommend Astro City enough. This is for everybody out there. People who are just starting to get into comics, who are looking for new things to look for. Astro City. Astro City. Get it. Buy it. You'll love it. Fantastic stories, great characters, very interesting characters, unusual stories, original stories, so you don't get the regular stuff done over and over and over again. It is amazing. Now I got the Marvel part of our program. First up, Peter David is one of my favorite writers. And he hasn't been doing as much as he used to, but he's been suffering from some illnesses, so I understand it. But one of his creations back from the 80s and 90s that I always loved was Spider-Man 2099. It was a great series. Well, he's come back. Spider-Man 2099 #2 is out in bookstores, comic book stores today. Spider-Man 2099 is fantastic. Written by Peter David, art by Will Sliney. Rick Leonardi was the artist from the original Spider-Man 2099. I'm sorry not to see his artwork because I like it, but Will Sliney's a very close thing. Here's the new Spider-Man, and just takes place in the future, and it's good story. Peter David's excellent writer, good storyline, and here's what Spider-Man 2099 looks like. It's a fantastic costume. I love the costume. So pick up Spider-Man 2099 number 2. I think he will be playing a big role in the upcoming Spider-Verse storyline, which I am extremely ecstatic about. And for those who don't know what Spider-Verse is about, Dan Slott, who is the writer of Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man number 5 comes out today. This is an original Sin crossover, but is also setting up the Spider-Verse storyline. And we'll be learning more and more about the Spider-Verse, and that should be starting very soon. But it's going to be every single Spider-Man in every single dimension, every single iteration, whatever will be there. Last week I had Superior Spider-Man number 32, which is the doorway. This continues the storyline as we get introduced to a new female who's going to be playing a big role in it. And Humberto Ramos' art is fantastic. Dan Slott's the writer. Humberto Ramos is the artist. Victor Alazaba is the inker. You got the Black Widow. Draws a very sexy Black Widow. Not Black Widow. Black Cat, excuse me. And menacing Electro. And a perfectly goofy Spider-Man. And the sexy new female. And, regular characters. Doing a great job. So Humberto Ramos, underrated artist. He's fantastic. And here's a article about Spider-Verse, which is coming up. So I'm really stoked for Spider-Verse. That might be one of the only ones, and I probably shouldn't say this, but it's probably going to be one of the only ones that I will be buying every single issue of. All the Amazing Spider-Man crossovers, all the .2, .3, .12s they're probably going to be doing. I will buy every single issue of Spider-Verse. I'm going to say that now. So you're going to be sick of Spider-Verse. It supposedly starts in September. The Edge of Spider-Verse starts in September, then the actual Spider-Verse storyline. Probably December or January, maybe. Maybe January probably be the best place for it to start, but we'll see. Who knows? But Spider-Man has been my first hero. My first comic I ever collected was Spider-Man, and I just love the idea of the storyline, and I'm very excited for it, and I can't wait to see it. So you'll be seeing a lot of Spider-Verse when it starts coming out, and I will buy every single issue. I promise. But let's get back to mutants. Nightcrawler number 5. This book I also cannot say how great this is. Chris Claremont, the guy who is Mr. X-Men, writes this book. Todd Nook, whose artwork is perfectly suited for this book, fantastic, does the artwork for it. Great storyline, fun. Nightcrawler is a great character when written properly. It's a fun book. It's a great book. It's great to see Chris Claremont writing because usually his stuff gets a little heavy. This is a lot of fun. And at the same time, there's a big threat that Chris Claremont is not shying away from. So you got to read this book. Nightcrawler is absolutely excellent. Nightcrawler number 5. I cannot of the new Marvels that are coming out. That is one of the best ones. Pick it up. Gerry Duggan of Pirate Pairs again. Gerry Duggan is back. I don't know if he is just filling in for Mark Waid or if Mark Waid is done on the Hulk. But Hulk number 5 is written by Gerry Duggan. Art is still by Mark Bagley, who is another one of my favorite artists, who I think is appropriate for this book. Beautiful artwork. It's fantastic. I love his stuff. Always have. It looks like that Gerry Duggan is the new writer because this is the Omega Hulk, Part 1. So Part 1. So it looks like Mark Waid has left the Hulk. I was unaware of that. But now it looks like we've got intelligent Bruce Banner back. Intelligent Hulk back. So that's fantastic. And I am liking the new Hulk, and Mark Bagley's doing a good job. So Gerry Duggan, I've never heard of you before. That's nothing against you, buddy. I can't wait to read your stuff in both this and Batman. That's why this is the Gerry Duggan show and why I'm Gerry Duggan, also known as Dylan, because I thought it was funny. Hopefully I'll be entertained. I'm pretty sure I will be. My wife, I love her very much. And I knew she was perfect for me when she started getting interested in my comic book collection. And she loves to read, so she reads lots of my comics that I read. So I've been getting some stuff that she might like, and eventually I want to read. One of those books is Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel #6, Carol Danvers, written by Kelly Sue DeConnick, with art by David Lopez, who is fantastic artist on the book. Once again, very competent artist. Nothing too outlandish. Very well drawn forms, backgrounds, characters. Let's see if I can get a good Carol shot. Not really good. There's a good one. There's Carol in all her glory. So fantastic. Kelly Sue DeConnick, great writer. Dave Lopez, great artist. Captain Marvel, great character. Her new book, her new issue is out, issue #6. It looks like this is the end of a story arc as well. Beginning of a new one starting next issue. So pick up Captain Marvel. It's a great female book. My daughter even, what I do is I let my wife read it first, obviously, because it's my wife and she loves Captain Marvel, and I like to have her read comics. I put it on the bedside table by her side of the bed, and my daughter sometimes sees it and says, "Mommy, can I read this with you?" And my wife's like, "Absolutely." So I'm getting my daughter into reading Captain Marvel as well. And Miss Marvel also, which is another good one, should be out in probably a couple weeks, so we'll talk about that then. So that was my Marvel pile. Last but not least, I got 3 independents, 2 Image, and 1, well, they're all Image. 2 Images and 1 Top Cow. First up is a book that is a lot different than you think it might be, with a title like Sex Criminals #7. And this is for you, Gary Harris. This is the issue. Yours is upstairs. You will have it in your grubby little hands tomorrow. You're probably not even watching. Anyway, here's Sex Criminals #7, the newest issue. Now, for those who haven't seen the show before or don't know anything about this book, you must be thinking, Dylan, what the hell are you thinking doing a book called Sex Criminals? It's not what you think. Sex Criminals is a very funny book. It's written by Matt Fraction with art by Chip Zdarsky. And the story is not about people who molest children or rape people. No. It's fun. It's a fun book. It's not dramatic. It's not horrific. It is funny. It's a fun book. It's about a man and woman who discover that when they have sex, an orgasm, they can stop time. Could be a good amount of time, I guess, depending upon the strength of the orgasm. And obviously, for mature readers, duh. But the funny thing is, though, for a book about sex, people engaging in sex, and when they orgasm, stopping time, there's not a lot of nudity in it. There's a lot of sex, but not a lot of nudity. There's a lot of sex talk in it as well. But there is actually a very interesting storyline about it. There's apparently a bunch of people who can do this, and we find out there's like a sex police to make sure that people who stop time don't take advantage of it by robbing things and doing things they're not supposed to, which unfortunately the hero and heroine of this are doing. The female works at a library, and the male, he works at a bank. The bank wants to foreclose on the library, so they find each other, they learn about each other's powers, they have sex. When they climax, they go and they rob the bank and give the money to the library. Then the library gives the money back to the bank as if they paid it off. That's the basic premise of the story, and then you've got the sex police coming after them. So that's the story. And as I said, for a book about sex, not a lot of sex in it. Susie and John are the main characters at the time. My mind blanked on it. But here's Susie. Yeah, there's Susie. And there's young John. Let's just see. There's young John, so let's just show you young John. There's young John right there. So we're going to take a look back at their past. And that's the thing also, which is really interesting about this series as well. So it jumps all around time. It flashes back, it flashes forward, it keeps you, you know, on the, you know, the present, in the past, the future, stuff like that. So, and it's just very well designed, very well interesting. And this is what, when he's in the midst of the sex fold, when he's after he's climaxed, what he's doing. So, it's an excellent book. Very dramatic, very funny. Highly recommend this for everybody who wants something different, something original. A name like Sex Criminals, I know it's going to turn off a lot of people, but you know what? It's not about, as I said, child molesters, rapists, anything like that. It's about two people who have the power to stop time when they orgasm and how they screw up things, screw up their life. Highly recommended. Sex Criminals #7's out. The Trade, collected the first 5 issues, came out recently, so you can probably pick that up. And then issue 6 came out last month. You should be able to pick that up somewhere still. I mentioned earlier, when I was talking about Justice League United, how great that book is. And one of the characters in there is Adam Strange. Adam Strange is one of my favorite characters as well. Adam Strange is the type of character who, it's based on, you know, John Carter Mars, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, whatever you want to do it. There's a whole bunch of people who are very similar to him. I will give props. John Carter from Mars is the first person to use it. And the premise is a normal Earthling gets transported to an alien planet where he becomes a hero and falls in love with the lead female. You know, it always works out that way. So that's what the basic premise of Adam Strange is. He's a archaeologist who gets zapped by a Zeta beam, taken to the planet Ron, and becomes the superhero there because they're all science, and he is the only one who can stop the bad guys who pop up. So there's a bunch of those, as I said, John Carter from Mars, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, stuff like that. Well, Mark Millar, who's never really been one of my favorite writers, there's something about his writing that it grates on my nerves a little bit. But you know, he's written some really good stuff, and then there's some stuff that I just shake my head at. He's written a book called Starlight. Starlight #5. It's a 6-issue miniseries, I believe. And Mark Millar's the writer. Goran Parlov is the artist. And basically, it's Mark Millar's version of the Adam Strange type of story. In this case, the young man who was transported to the alien planet where he became a big hero, when he's done and he's cleaned up everything so there's no bad guys anymore, he goes back to Earth, falls in love, gets married, stays on Earth, gets old. His wife dies, and he's now considered kind of a loser because people don't believe that he was a hero on another planet. They think he's insane. And then one day, you know, he lives by himself. He's got all kinds of regular human issues. One day, an alien comes down from the planet and says, "We need you again. You were a hero before. Help us out again. We're being taken over by a madman." So he comes back as this old man and tries to get back into his the way of doing things. Goran Parlov is an excellent writer, or rather artist, and I actually am enjoying the story immensely. It could be because I like Adam Strange, but I am enjoying this. I think it's an excellent take on the Adam Strange story and a kind of a unique take on it as well, and I highly recommend it. So should be a lot of fun, and pick it up. The last one is from Top Cow. This is Death Vigil #2, Stefan Sejic, who in this comic is the writer, artist, creator, owns it, rights. It's kind of a fantasy, futuristic fantasy type of storyline, and Stefan Sejic's artwork is very different than what it usually is. Stefan Sejic came to my prominence when he was doing his awesome run on Witchblade with Ron Mars, and it was a totally different style of artwork than this is. This is a totally different style, and I like it. I like this style as well, and I think you will too. So it's a different book. It's not your typical superhero book. So if you're not interested in superheroes, but kind of more like a fantasy, futuristic, maybe even a little bit of a steampunk if you want a little bit, but I think it's more of a futuristic fantasy type of book. Knives, creatures, dragons, stuff like that. Pick up Death Vigil. Number 2. Number 1 might still be out there. So that was painless. That is my comic haul for this week. Hopefully there's some good stuff in there. There really is some good stuff, and hopefully you find it. As I said, Astro City, fantastic. Justice League United, fantastic. Nightcrawler, fantastic. Captain Marvel, fantastic. Sex Criminals, fantastic. So, and everything else. I mean, I don't buy books that I don't like. There are some books that have come out that I don't collect anymore, or I didn't feel like picking up, like Suicide Squad, which I did on the show a couple weeks ago. The second issue came out this week. Wasn't interested in buying it, so I didn't. The new Walking Dead came out this week. I haven't really been too caught up with that yet. I'm trying to get there eventually, but I find it reads easier in trade, so I'm going to wait on trade. But I still like to look through the books to get an idea of what's going on. Let me just say, this issue, something interesting happens that can be taken one of two ways, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So I recommend that it makes sense. The book's been around for 11 years almost. It's an interesting idea, and I wonder where Robert Kirkman's going to take it, and if it's going to make its way into the TV series eventually. Anywho, is there anything else out there? Apparently there was a new book by was it Jeff Stone, who did Bone. I can't remember his name, but I'll have to check that out as well. So go to your comic store this weekend, tomorrow, Friday, whatever. Take a look around. Buy some of the books I told you about. You know, you probably have some stuff that you like that I did not talk about. There's a lot of other books that came out this week. These aren't the only ones that came out. These are the only ones that I bought. There's a whole bunch of books that came out this week. A lot more independents. I haven't really been following a lot of the independents. So check those out as well. If you're into that, more superheroes, more DC comics came out, more Marvel comics came out, more Image comics came out. So pick those up. Just go to a comic store, all right? Pick up some books. You might find something you like. And as I said, if you were looking for something, you're brand new, you're looking for something to read, pick up the first Astro City trade. I think it's Life in the Big City is the name of the first trade. Pick up the first trade. You'll be hooked. I promise you. It's excellent. It's a great series. And you never know. Every store is different. My store happens to have 2 or 3 months worth of books on the shelf. So if you're just getting into a new series, say Nightcrawler number 5 came out today, my LCS has numbers 1 through 4 on their shelf still. So go in there. Your store might be doing the same thing. Grab them. You can get a complete run in there as well. Also, you might want to wait till the weekend. The weekends is when a lot of comic stores usually have special offers. My comic store is going to be doing a 50% off of trade paperbacks, I believe, this week, and some other stuff as well. So just go to a local store and just look around and see what they got going on. Not every store, as I said, not every store is the same. Some might not have any deals. Some might not have a lot of stuff. Some might have a lot of stuff. Just go. Go to comicshoplocatorservice.com. Look it up on your Google or whatever your search engine is. Type in your zip code. You will find as many comic stores as there are in the 30-mile radius. I can think of about 4 or 5 within a 30-mile radius of here. I just happen to like my store. Sorry, I've talked enough now. The whole point is go to your comic store. Pick up comics. Buy them. Read them. Collect them. Enjoy them. And if you need a recommendation, Astro City, Life in the Big City. Pick it up, read it. You'll love it. So join me on Sunday for Dylan Knows Paranormal, and I'll be back either next Wednesday or next Friday for another comic call. Bye, guys.